now that we're going into module two, we'll be looking at the different areas. I'm going to hand it off really to Dave at this point because he has the first section. We were going to do a little introduction of ourselves, but I think we really hit on that at the beginning. So, Dave, I'll let you take it from here.
All right, thanks, Jim. And again, thank you, Carlos and Mike. Appreciate the getting everything set up for us. And as you remember from Laura's introduction, what we're going to cover in Module 2 are really 4 topics. I'm going to talk a little bit about understanding the incident command system. Jim's going to talk a little bit about scope and scale, and then we're going to have a little bit of group interaction to see, how you all interpret what we say and how you use it in your organizations or any questions you might have. Then we'll turn it over to Aaron, who'll talk a little bit about developing an effective action plan. And then we finish up with Carlos and Anthony talking about managing expectations and communications. And again, we're covering this from a strategic standpoint, so we're not going to get into the how you exercise, how you do these things, but why they're important and why we set these guardrails up to start with. So we'll go ahead to the next slide. For those of you that are with the government, FEMA, Homeland Security, and those of you that are in state emergency management, you probably understand, have a pretty good knowledge of what ICS, the Incident Command System, is. For those of you that are in the private sector, you probably don't have the same level of expertise or the same understanding, but you may know a little bit about it. So I'm going to try to bring everybody up to at least the same level playing ground about what ICS is to a utility organization and why it's important. So ICS, Incident Command System, is a standardized approach to command, response, control, and coordination of emergency response. It really provides a common hierarchy with individuals and multiple agencies. So if you think about it, if you're responding to a disaster and there's multiple public and private sectors involved, if you've all got different organizational structures, it's really hard to bring some continuity or consistency, or if you have to ask somebody in another industry about a question that's affecting your portion of the industry, you really don't know who to ask or where to go because they're operating different. So what ICS does is it provides that common framework or hierarchy. It's really a component of the National Incident Management System, and it can be used for virtually any emergency response situation. Storms, cyber, floods, earthquakes, hurricanes, you name it, you can use ICS from the NIMS, the National Incident Management System. You can use this framework anywhere. It provides established roles and responsibilities with a chain of command within each role. So not only does it set up the individual, hierarchy of who's doing what, but it puts responsibilities in each one of those rows on who's doing what, so you know who to go to. So it provides clarity to your organization. More importantly, it keeps folks focused on their tasks and allows them to direct inquiries to the appropriate sections within the organization. And I'll give you an example of how I learned how important this is to me. Back in 1998, when I was a lowly operations manager in the Northwest, we were hit by a pretty big ice storm around Christmas Eve. And I was asked if I would go help in our Gloucester area, local office, and help run some crews around and restore service. And I said, sure, I'll be glad to help. So I get my vehicle, I drive down there, I show up into the office, and you couldn't find a group of more dedicated individuals that were really focused on trying to get the lights back on. And this office had about, 30 or 40,000 customers, very rural office, but 95% of them were out of lights. When I showed up there, they didn't know I was coming. They didn't know what I was expected to do there. And so I introduced myself and said, I'm here to help. I was told I was going to lead crews, but I'll do whatever you want. Well, I went out and led crews for a day and a half. And at the end of a day and a half, I got the same job a couple of times each day because there was really there's no consistency, no organization. Everybody was trying really hard to get the job done, but nobody was in charge of any specific role. And by the end of the second day, there were actually more customers out in that office than there were customers, because the inefficiencies and the way we were operating, everybody was trying to do everything for everybody, so nothing was getting done. So we sat down, had a meeting, and we decided we would form our own. I didn't know what incident command system was, but we decided we would create one. And we gave everybody a role of responsibility. And from that day forward, restoration moved so much quicker, so much more organized. And in 3 days, we were done. But that after that second day, we were there 5 days. That second day, if we would have continued where we're going, I guess we might still be there. I mean, it was just that disorganized. So not only that though, if you have a role, if you have a response.